Hey friends, this is Miss Volfie from our Half Acre Homestead. Well, you asked for it. I'm recovering a couple of our old quilts that are falling apart because we use them every day. We wash them and they go right back on the bed just like Linus and his blankie. So this is Papa's quilt, and although it doesn't look bad, you can see that there's holes wearing in the fabric all over the place. So this really isn't the bad part of this quilt. The bad part is the back. The whole back is just coming to pieces.
That's the good side.
This is the good side, I know.
That one's worse.
So we've got this old flannel hospital sheet we're going to use as a backing. And I've got some old blocks that I got at a yard sale and some fabric I used to have for curtains. And let me show you what I'm going to do. Here, Papa's going to hold the camera. Now I'm just, some of these blocks are actually hand stitched. And I don't know how old they are, but I know this is feed sack fabric. So I have 7 blocks, but I'm only going to need 6. I'm going to lay them out, and then I'm going to go in between them with some very manly type fishing and hunting kind of fabric. And then we're just going to tie this all together with yarn. So let's get to work. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that all these blocks are the same size. Because they were hand sewn and hand put together, they don't all match in size. So if I get 6 out of these that match in size, then we'll be okay. Now just because I got these at a yard sale or eBay or whatever, it does not change the fact that somebody worked really hard on these. And so we want to make them, like this is beautiful classic scrap quilting. This piece is made out of 2. So we want to give these as much care as possible. Okay, now that I've ironed these are all within a ½ an inch in size of each other. So I think rather than cutting them and then putting a border, I'm just going to do the border and I'm going to eyeball it so that they all roughly go in the same direction with the same size. Now, the next thing I have to figure out is we're going to have 6 of these, so I need to know how much fabric I'm putting in between these for borders. In between them as well as around them. These don't necessarily need to go all the way to the ends because I'm going to border the outside too. First and foremost, we are going to want 6-inch strips between these blocks. And I'm going to make 2 rows with 6-inch strips connecting them. And then we're going to lay them side by side and figure out. This is a whole eyeball project, folks. Why? Because these are quilts we use every day, and we just, we can't afford to have them off our bed for more than a day. Because we do use them. They're our favorite blankets. Okay, here's the 1 strip of curtain that I'm going to be using. Now I am actually going to do, we have 6 blocks. In order for them to be connected, we're going to need, so here's 1, 2, 3 blocks, so we're going to need connector, 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 connector. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the 3 blocks. So we need 8 6-inch blocks, and I believe this strip is exactly going to give us that. And I'm just going to cut this. I'm going to fold it. Okay, so I'm just going to take this off just like that. This is a new mat that was sent to me by a friend. Thank you, my dear. And this ruler is 6 inches. So I'm just going to cut this bottom off. Okay. So here is our 6-inch strips that we're going to connect all our blocks with. So let's get on that. Okay, the best way I can think of to do the connector fabric, just to hold it in a straight line, I'm just going to give it a couple of pins strategically placed, just so that we know everything is straight. And here we go. Now, it's taken some of the point off of the block, but better that than have a crooked seam, which is what would have happened if we had sewed using the block as a guide. Now, I'm going to leave this tail on here for now, only because it gives me a guide of where I'm going to want to cut later when we cut these into a strip. But there's also the fact that it's going to help me line up this next piece. So I'm going to put all 6 blocks into 2 strips like this, and when I get that done, we'll be back. Okay, we got the first strip done, and it's of course rough. Now remember folks, this is not an art project. This is, I've got stuff that has to be used. I've got blocks tucked here and there, and I've got fabric that's, you know, no longer curtains. So it all kind of comes together. This is a true quilting recycle project. And now I'm going to trim these ends off of here, and then we'll sew them all together and we'll border all around it, and Bob's your uncle. Papa will have a quilt again, but he might have to wait till tomorrow night. Okay, now that the 2 strips are done, I've got this really nice long piece of curtain here that I'm going to divide in 3 lengthwise, and that's going to be the center between the 2 connected strips and the outside pieces. Now all I've done to this piece of fabric is that I folded it widthwise, and now I've folded it evenly in 3, and I'm just going to cut on the seams. Just like that, because we can't have them as shoddy as they are now. So now I have 3 nice strips to go down between and on the outsides of our finished blocks. So let's get at that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've got my 2 connected strips done. Now I'm going to lay out our 3 strips of the border fabric for top or for the middle and both outsides. And that gives us lots, by the look of this, it's going to give us lots of room for our center connected pieces. It's amazing what you can do with some yard sale or eBay blocks and some old curtains. Oh yeah, I'm going to have like 6 inches to spare. Yeah, that's looking awesome. Can you live with that?
Sure. Looks good. Awesome.
That's the way it's going to look when I've sewn it together. Alrighty. I will be back, folks, when I have this all sewn together. Okay, so here's the new top for Papa's quilt. Like I said before, made out of 6 blocks that I got, I believe it was on eBay, and some leftover curtain material. Not bad for eyeballing it. Now I'm just going to pin it together and lay it out on the kitchen table for tying.
Are you done yet?
No, I'm not done yet. Do you have any idea how thick this thing is? I have to use pliers to get the darning needle through all the layers.
This was going to be done 2 weeks ago.
Well, you happen to like blankets that are extremely thick. I'm never recovering this one again, so, okay?
Excellent.
And there it is, folks. Papa's recovered quilt. I still have a couple of places to tie at the bottom, but it'll be back on the bed tonight. And this is, like I said, the last time this will get recovered because it's really too thick. And all I did was took the backing and brought it up around the edge and invisible stitched it for the binding. It really did. Like I said, this is one of those jobs that you need to get done and back on the bed ASAP. This is the Miss Volfie from our half-acre homestead saying some quilts are art projects and some are just reduce, reuse, recycle projects. That's what quilting's all about. Remember, any old blanket can become a quilt. Take care. God bless.